Yo, what is up, people of the internet? I am your host, Renegade Operative here, and today we will be talking about Sony making some weird comments here or there about backwards compatibility. If you guys aren't well aware, this is basically like pre-E3 jitters. E3 2017 is right around the corner. Sony's talking a big game. They said they're going to bring the games. They're going to have the same exact format that they did last year, deep in the heart of their show floor. And basically, you can find this comment pretty much agreeable, disagreeable, but I'm just going to present my opinion. I'm going to present what I think about this comment. Let's go. The topic of backwards compatibility, playing previous games on your newer systems. Now we know that the Xbox One offers this feature. You can go back and you can play some of your Xbox 360 games, and I would say that is definitely a plus. It is a feature that the PlayStation just seems to be lacking right now. I mean, the PlayStation 4 does not have backwards compatibility outside of buying some older games on PS2 to PS4. They don't have PS3 games unless you're buying it on PlayStation Now, which I'm not gonna lie, PlayStation Now is garbage. Garbage. Then when we get to the PS3, they had it, then they removed it. I remember having a fat PS3 for launch and they had backwards compatibility, and I was so mad when it broke because I'm like, now I gotta get a motherfucking super slim. There was a point in my life where I didn't have internet, so I didn't know about Amazon, I didn't know about eBay, and the only thing I had back then was GameStop. So the only thing I could take was a slim PS3 since they discontinued the fat PS3 models. Man, I wish they would have kept it, but they start to slowly take it away and phase it out because either it becomes too complicated to develop for or way too expensive from what we heard in the past. This is always the main reason why they take away backwards compatibility internally. Now we have Jim Ryan here. He is a executive of the PlayStation Europe branch, and he said that it's a much requested feature to have backwards compatibility, but little people are playing older games in today's age. Going into his quote here, he says, I quote, "When we've dabbled with backwards compatibility, I can say it is one of those features that is much requested, but not actually used much. That, and I was at a Gran Turismo event recently where they had PS1, PS2, PS3, and PS4 games. And the PS1 and PS2 games, they looked ancient. Like, why would anybody play this?" Now, in a large way, this statement is partially correct and incorrect. It's partially correct in the sense that yes, there are games out there that especially came from the PlayStation 1 era that has not aged well. There are games out there that just don't look that great on the PS1 era. And I get that. I get that when you play games from a certain era, especially today, if you just started like console gaming today and you see the graphics of today and you're like, man, that looks so spectacular, impressive, and overwhelming, and you go back to the PlayStation 1 and you see those graphics and you're like, well, that doesn't look that good, this doesn't feel that good and play that good. I can understand that people come from differing generations and they prefer playing newer games. There's a graph that was put up not too long ago that basically signaled the fact that people mainly bought the Xbox One not for backwards compatibility, but to play newer Xbox One titles. Then we get to the portion where this statement is disagreeable and a bit hypocritical on Sony's behalf because for the first 2 years, they had nothing but remasters. I mean, The Last of Us remaster is one of their biggest fan-requested remasters of all time, to the point where Naughty Dog saw the critical fan reaction and they took extra time to work on the game. Sony. Just as much as you say there is a plethora of people that prefer playing new titles on their new consoles, there's just as much, if not many people who go out there and buy older games on their hardware that they haven't played or experienced on that previous console. Look at stuff like Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition. Look at what Platinum is doing with Bayonetta and Vanquish. I mean, a lot of people were excited those games were ported to the PC. There is always an opportunity to put out a game that people really want to play that they never got the chance to do so during the PS2, the GameCube, or the original Xbox era. Sony, you see, the problem that you have is that when it comes to backwards compatibility titles, you don't tend to update or deliver on said promise. You have PS2 to PS4, and so far PS2 to PS4 I think is a nightmare. They don't have all the games that I would like to see on there. That's for starters. They don't keep it updated. And the prices are, well, expensive. I mean, why would I go back and buy a Grand Theft Auto game for like $10 to $20 when I can just go back and play those titles free of charge on my PlayStation 2, on my PlayStation 2 converter? You see, PSN Classics, PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 4, really isn't updated that much. The prices are insane. They don't have as many discounts as I would like, and that is why it lacks the incentive to support it. Now, I know emulation is not perfect. This is why I tried Sly Cooper on emulation and it ran terribly on my PC. So I think there is a market for PlayStation to have those old franchises come back, or those old exclusives to be put on sale on the PlayStation Store, because people will buy it. I mean, eventually they need to figure out a way to properly fix their storefront, to have this library archive of legacy games that anyone could play anywhere at any time, because eventually physical is going to be phased out. Physical is going to be no longer a thing. I mean, even if you're going to get physical games, it's going to be harder to get those older games in the next 5 to 7 years, where they become very rare and hard to get. So eventually, digital, as we know now, is going to be the future. And they need to preserve the past, and what better way than to use PS2 to PS4, put up all your old games. People will play it if they can't play it anywhere else on emulation. It's not going to work. Some games don't work on emulation. And then make your profit. Make your money on all these big time exclusives that you spent so much money on in the past. Sony, update your motherfucking store with stuff like SOCOM and Bully, dog. I need to play SOCOM 3, dog. I can't live without my SOCOM 3, damn it. I would really like to see that game up there again, by the way. God damn it. This is Renegade Operative here. Hopefully you guys really enjoyed my opinion on what Jim Ryan said over the weekend. I thought this video was a lot of fun. I will see you guys next time. Until then, take care of yourselves. See you later.